Hi guys, I haven't made a video in a while, but I have been wanting to talk about some pressing topics that have really been a huge part of my life, the past 3 years or something, or more than that, and just things that I've been going through that I think hopefully by being vulnerable. I listened to a meditation this morning and it was all about vulnerability and how strength and power and growth come from being vulnerable, and I hope that by being vulnerable with you guys right now that it'll hopefully help even just one person to also be vulnerable and reach out and seek help. So I'm going to be talking about food and my relationship with food and the modeling industry and health concerns that I've been having and everything like that, just like I said, in hopes of helping even one person that's going through the same thing, because I've been finding that there is essentially no information out there about some of these topics. And we're gonna just get right to it. If I'm being honest, I had a glass of wine before this. I'm usually a really open person and don't have a huge problem talking about things that I'm going through, but this stuff is gonna get really deep, so be ready for it. Starting off, I just want to talk about food and its role in my life. I come from a family, we're all genetically pretty fit, but food is so much more than just food. It is love, it is experiences. I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I remember being age 3 in a high chair eating Indian food with my family. And all of our experiences in life, I feel like I at least associated with what I was eating. Like, I remember being at a barbecue joint in Texas and being with my friends, enjoying an incredible cake on whatever birthday. It's just always been a big part of my life. I remember we would be having breakfast and it was an ongoing joke that we would be planning dinner at breakfast time, and I don't know, it's just always been a big part of my life. And never in my life did I ever think about health. It was just something that we were relatively healthy but very balanced, and we treated ourselves and never thought about it. And then in high school and college, I ate pretty unhealthy and my body reflected that. I was exercising and I played basketball in high school, but then when I got into college, I wasn't really exercising and I was in a long distance relationship that was mentally abusive, and I would just eat whatever he was eating. And then when I wasn't with him, I was really stressed, and I was in college. So I was eating a lot of fried food. It wasn't balanced at all. I wasn't exercising. So my body at that time reflected that. I was super unhappy and stressed and probably not physically where I naturally would be at. And this is a picture of me at that time. So fast forwarding a little bit, I then in college, that was in the beginning of college. Then later in college, I was in a different relationship. And at this time, I started kind of dabbling in the possibility of modeling. And I ended up dating a guy long distance that I met in California. And then I went back to school. And at that time, I started to pay more attention to health. I started working out. Being aware of, I've never counted calories in my entire life. I still don't, never have, but I was really aware of what I was putting in my body and that I would feel a lot better if I was eating good food. But then it was another relationship that was not mentally fruitful. It was a little bit codependent and mentally abusive and toxic. And he ate super, super, super healthy, and it was started to rub off on me. So I started to pay, like I said, more attention to health. And there's a fine line between being healthy and balanced and it becoming a problem. And now looking back and doing all this research, I've realized that that was what was called, or at least developing into, orthorexia, which if you've never heard of it, it's not an eating disorder, but it's a precursor to anorexia. And they define it as being obsessive about the purity of your food. And I have felt like for the past few years, if I ate something quote unquote bad, which there are no such thing as good foods and bad foods, it's all just food. And it's meant to be enjoyed and memorable and just, oh my gosh, just part of your life. So it became a thing that when I felt like a lot of parts of my life were out of control, the one thing that I could control was what I was putting into my body. And I started to have a presence on social media and see that people reacted differently when I was really taking care of my body. So I just became more and more aware of my health, ended up moving to LA, and I wasn't modeling at the time. I was still finishing up my school, so I kind of dabbled in and out, not professionally with the modeling thing. Then I graduated from school and I started full-time modeling. That's kind of a different story. I walked through the doors of one of the top modeling agencies, not only in Los Angeles, but in the world, and not even planning on pursuing modeling. I was offered a contract and I was ecstatic. My life completely changed. I got out of that bad relationship. I got a car, found a new apartment, started that new job, like all on the same day. I'm very the type of person that just rips off the Band-Aid and starts fresh all at the same time. So I did that and things were going smoothly and I was happy for the first time in a while. And I think at that time eating pretty balanced, but still very aware, obviously because of the industry, you know, okay, I need to be healthy, I need to exercise, but I was pretty balanced at that point and I was happy. And there was one time that I vividly remember this day, and I have dug in the back of my brain to pinpoint when I started to be hyper aware of what I was eating and not spiraled out of control. Like I said, I've always been a big eater. It's just something that's always been a part of my life. I love food, I'm obsessed with it. I watch all these cooking shows anyways. There was one time where we had a meeting and I was excited to catch up with my agents and see what progress we're making, what projects they had in mind with me, and they sat me down. Actually, one agent in particular sat me down and pulled out a photo of me. And this is what I looked like at the time. And she pulled out a photo of me and just said, we just got these images back from what's called a test shoot where there's different variables with lighting. I could have been on my period. There's so many different factors. And she said, you're getting pretty soft. We're not going to be submitting you to jobs until we see a difference in your body. And I was 21 at the time, supporting myself financially alone in LA, had just gotten out of a toxic relationship, just was very happy and making all these great changes in my life, but fragile. And for someone that holds pretty much your career and livelihood in their hands to say, we are not going to be sending you on jobs until we see a difference in your body. Not, let's look at these digitals side by side, not just some random photo and compare it to another random photo from a while back. We're not going to be letting you work until we see a difference, was soul crushing. And I am very stubborn, type A, independent. I've been kind of taking care of myself since I was 18. I acted like it didn't bother me, but I was crushed. I didn't really know where to turn because this was how I was going to make an income. This was how I was supporting myself, and I didn't have a way to work unless I changed my exterior. When looking back, I was healthy, I looked great, I was balanced, but now seeing how I've been the last couple of years since that point, subconsciously that day, it was ingrained in my brain, and I'm a very all or nothing person, that I need to be, obsessive about the purity of my food. If I eat one bad thing, then my whole day is ruined and I might as well eat crap the rest of the day. I have to earn the right to have something that's quote unquote unhealthy. I don't deserve to enjoy a piece of cake at my friend's birthday party or, oh my gosh, just be with family on Christmas and eat something they normally wouldn't. And I don't want you to get the wrong idea. There's different levels to this, and I've always, like I said, been a big eater. My guy friends comment all the time, wow, Maddie, you eat more than anyone I've ever seen. Like, I'll be going to a 10 o'clock dinner in LA, which is so late for me that I'll eat dinner beforehand and then dinner then, and then be snacking at the bar. But it's not about the amount of food that I was eating, but the quality. I know that about 6 months ago, the low carb trend started to become a big thing, and I was just exposed to it from social media, and I just thought I would kind of dabble in it. I never was extreme keto or anything like that, but I started playing around with it. And for example, if I used to put a banana in my smoothie and some oatmeal, I was eliminating that and only having low carb berries in my smoothie and maybe some protein powder and avocado or something like that. And I wasn't treating myself as much, and it's just the little things. Like, I would be out, and if a friend ordered dessert, I wouldn't even be tasting it. Those little things that I've realized since then have been just whittling away at my self-confidence. When I thought that that was something I was controlling, it was making me happy. At the same time, I was treating my body like a machine. Like, life is too short to not enjoy these things. And it wasn't until the quarantine and recently, I think a lot of us are having this much time to exercise and pay attention to what we're eating and to slow down, did I really take a look in the mirror and think, because I was just on this vicious cycle of wake up every morning, immediately work out, for an hour every single day, no rest days. I wasn't, when I'm doing the workouts, overworking myself or anything. I feel great. I have a lot of energy and I'm stronger than I've ever been before. But the fact of the matter that if I was on vacation and couldn't find access to a gym, or was going to be at a restaurant where they're pre-ordering all the food and I wouldn't have an option on ordering salmon or chicken or something that doesn't have any carbs in it, like that stressed me out. I would pack extra suitcases when I would go on vacation with healthy snacks and things like that, and just driving myself crazy. And stress hormones add to the cortisol in your brain, and it's just not healthy for you. And I feel like this whole time in this period of my life, I've thought I'm healthy, I'm confused, I don't understand why, but life is all about balance, and I haven't been balanced. And social media has just exacerbated that problem. You know, you see these girls on Instagram, and it's not normal to have a tiny waist and hips and a butt and boobs. Like, that's not natural. And I was frustrated because, as you saw from the photos, I used to have boobs, and I was curvy and I felt sexy. But then as soon as I started exercising every single day and really monitoring what I was eating, I didn't feel as sexy, and I kind of lost that confidence and womanliness. I don't even know if that's a word. But going back to the keto thing, and I was never, like I said, strict keto, but by slowly eliminating those carbs, I didn't do research to realize one of my friends was doing keto, and he's a guy, you know, was trying to lose 10 pounds for a bachelor party or something, and like had extra weight to lose when I don't. And that wasn't even my goal. I just thought it was interesting and wanted to dabble in it, not realizing how much keto wreaks havoc on a female's hormones. And there is no research out there about this. All you read about keto and low calorie, high fat diets is that it burns fat and it gets rid of fat, which is great for someone who has fat to lose. But when I was 120 pounds, going down to 107 or something like that is not healthy. And I ended up losing my period, which at this point, and like I said, it wasn't until the quarantine I really thought back to realize, wow, I kept brushing this off because I've been busy and put off things that are super important, like paying attention to my health. I haven't been to the doctor in a while, and I realized I haven't had my period in at least 6 months, probably a year. And that's because my body realizes, you know what, we need to focus on other things, because she doesn't have enough fat, so obviously we're not planning on having a baby anytime soon, so we're not gonna give her ovulate and give her a period, which I didn't realize until recently how terrible that is for you. I have had thinning hair, what else? Cold all the time, to the point where I won't go out at night or do things socially because I just know I'm gonna be miserable, being freezing. Complete lack of sex drive. I have no, I can't believe I'm even saying this, no inclination or drive to go on dates or meet guys. Or I've been single for now over 2 years because that's just not something. I'm so focused on my career and other things that I've made that an excuse. And yes, I am those things, driven and not necessarily looking for a relationship right now, but of course I want to pursue those things and have that be a part of my life. So it's gotten to the point where, you know, you give up all these things to have what? Abs, look amazing in an Instagram photo, and get gratification from random guys that don't even know who you are, and you're literally just a photo and something to marvel at. Socially, it's awful, like I said, to have to be overthinking all of these things when you really should just be carefree and not thinking about food all the time and just enjoy yourself. So there's no studies out there, and I'm telling you right now, as a woman, you need body fat to be able to support your organs and have bodily functions. And I was searching literally on Google for like days, weeks, trying to find some information. I had this symptom, what's happening? Not to mention I've also been on birth control since I was 15 or 16 years old. I'm now 24, so that plays a big part of it. And I finally found this blog that talks about what's called hypothalamic amenorrhea. I haven't been diagnosed with it or anything, but it's just medical terms for losing your period. And there is a forum of hundreds of women that just pour out their hearts. A lot of them are trying to get pregnant or used to be marathon runners professionally, and they haven't had their periods in years and are now realizing how terrible it is for your body. It's frustrating because the comparison thing, I have so many friends that model, and who knows if they get their periods or if they have struggles with, you know, paying close attention to what they eat. But in the last, month since the quarantine's been happening, I don't monitor at all what I'm eating, and it's gonna take time, and it's a journey for me. And a lot of times people film these videos and they've already conquered it and are now rewinding and talking about their experience, but this is something that's fresh for me. And it's hard. I wanna get my period back. It's gonna happen, but it's a journey, and I'm going to seek help from professionals because I do feel like I genuinely, being honest with myself, and that's the number one step, I'm eating enough. I'm eating all the time. I always have, and I've been incorporating more carbs. I've been always really bad at accepting help. And sometimes you just gotta throw in that towel, and maybe one of you will be able to help me, or I will help you, because I'm already learning so much in this process. But I'm gonna be taking you guys through my experience and documenting it. I'm now talking to functional medicine doctors, holistic doctors, because I feel like the normal medical field, when I brought this up to my primary care provider, I was simply told your BMI, which is your body mass index, is too low. You don't have enough body fat, and that's it. Why would we even draw your blood if we know that that's the problem, when I know I have thyroid issues and certain things going on that could be connected to the lack of the period and low body fat. But the fact that I was just kind of brushed off is ridiculous. So I'm going to be pursuing different types of medicine to not only heal myself, but in the process of healing myself, heal others. I'm also almost done my training to be a certified health coach, which my goal in that is purely to help others with their health goals. And hopefully some of you have some similar to mine, and I'll be able to help you or personal experience, but whatever health concerns you do have, everyone's problems are justified. And I just want to end by saying, at the end of the day, what we're giving up to achieve this unachievable image put out there by society as being something that we're all expected to have, and for what is beyond not worth it. And what we're going to gain by getting rid of that is so much joy and fulfillment. And a lot of these topics, like I said, orthorexia, amenorrhea, the unrealistic expectations put out there by the modeling industry, aren't talked about. And we're in this together. So if you're struggling with any of these things, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm gonna be documenting this all, and I'm really excited to heal with you guys. I hope this was insightful. If you wanna hear any other tips as far as healthy snacks and things like that, workout tips, let me know. I hope this was helpful.